Hi, it's Andy Barker here for Rehab Room. I recently launched an ebook. If you've not seen it or want to know more about it, please visit rehabroom.co.uk, and all the details are up on the site about how to sort of get hold of it. The reason for the ebook that I did launch was 5 steps to get a job in professional sport. The main reason being that I just feel that people trying to get an approach to professional sports clubs often do it in a very poor way. So just to give some some tips on the mistakes that I made as a sort of young professional, and the mistakes I see people make day in, day out when applying for experience within sport, whether that's placements, internships, or even paid employment, about the mistakes that they make day in, day out, and the stuff that sort of stops them actually getting those opportunities. So one of the steps to talk about in the ebook is about basically not bullshitting, so and not telling tales and making up sort of lies, and in order to try and get yourself the opportunity. So what I talk about in more depth in the ebook is sport's quite a close-knit community, and you don't have to go too far to knowing someone else who works at another club, even in another sport, who knows someone else, and so on and so on and so on. So quite often, particularly if we're looking for people in employment, we'll obviously shortlist for an interview, and from their applications, you generally, maybe they've had some experience in a certain capacity, maybe at another club, in another sport, and it's quite normal for us to sort of speak to other clinicians. You maybe want to do a bit of research yourself about that particular person who you might then be sort of working alongside, to see what they're like. And to give you an example about why you shouldn't bullshit and why you shouldn't sort of tell tales is, I've had people employ for we've advertised for, say, a junior physio, first team physio assistant, and we've shortlisted for interview maybe 4 or 5 people, and from that, I've done a little bit of research, contacted a few people about the people we were due to interview, and one particular stands out that I spoke to a clinician actually in another sport, and then this person who was coming for interview, and he was like, I don't recognise his name. So he goes, I'll have a look, I'll look through my records, and I know who students we've been, and he sort of he'd put the time periods on during what was there, so I told him the dates. He checked back, and that person had never actually been at the club in sort of any capacity. So off the bat, needless to say, that person didn't get the job. We did interview anyway, we'd already organised the interviews, but if it was up to me, I probably wouldn't even interviewed them, because I knew that for whatever reason they were sort of not being honest and not being straight, and sort of misleading really with their letter application. So that's very silly in large respects, because like I say, it's a close-knit group of clinicians who work in sport, and we do like to do our research and look at and try and find out about people before they sort of come through the door, equally because we could potentially be working with those people, so we want to know as much information as we can about them. And so in summary, for this point, be totally honest and be transparent, and don't try and bullshit, because we probably are going to find out before, and ultimately that for that person there, that ultimately could have cost them a job, getting into professional sport. So be truthful. If you've done a student placement, right, it's a student placement. If you've done an internship, it's an internship. It probably comes down to the grammar you use when you are describing, so you don't mislead. Implying you've worked somewhere probably implies to me that you've been in a paid employment, and you've received money for doing what you're doing. That's very different to a student placement or some shadowing experience at a particular club. So be quite careful with how you word things, so you obviously don't mislead, and obviously otherwise it might sort of catch you out and prevent you from getting the opportunity you do want within professional sport.